Imagine a city so advanced that over 4,000 years ago, its streets were laid out in perfect grids, its houses had running water, and its people built baths so sophisticated that even modern engineers are baffled. Yet this entire civilization vanished without leaving behind the stories of its kings, the reasons for its collapse, or even a decipherable record of its own language. This is the haunting mystery of the Indus Valley Civilization, one of the world's earliest and most extraordinary urban cultures, flourishing at the same time as ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, but unlike them, cloaked in silence. For when archaeologists uncovered the great cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro in the 1920s, they expected grand temples, towering palaces, and monuments carved with royal names. But instead they found orderly brick houses, advanced drainage systems, standardized weights and measures, evidence of long-distance trade, and countless seals etched with strange symbols that no one can read. Symbols that might hold the secret of what happened, but that remain locked away, defying scholars for over a century. Picture thriving cities with tens of thousands of inhabitants, where merchants bustled in marketplaces, craftsmen shaped intricate jewelry and pottery, children played with toys made of clay, and citizens drew water from abundant wells, while beneath their feet ran a complex drainage system that carried waste away, a feature of urban planning centuries ahead of its time. Unlike other civilizations, there is little evidence of kings, armies, or glaring inequality. Instead, their society seems surprisingly egalitarian, as if built on a balance that modern cultures rarely achieved. And then, around 1900 BCE, something changed. Streets fell silent, houses were abandoned, workshops went quiet, and one of the world's greatest civilizations began to dissolve into the sands of time. The question is why? And here lies the enigma that continues to grip historians and archaeologists. Unlike Egypt, we have no Rosetta Stone. Unlike Mesopotamia, no king lists or epic poems carved into stone tablets. Just ruins, fragments, and silence. The theories are many, each one fascinating and incomplete. Some argue climate change was the culprit, that shifting monsoon patterns weakened year after year, turning once fertile lands into dust. The mighty Saraswati River, praised in ancient Indian texts, is thought to have once flowed powerfully before drying up and stranding settlements. Some believe catastrophic floods instead devastated the region, as layers of silt suggest sudden disasters. But is climate alone enough to explain the disappearance of an entire civilization so vast and sophisticated? Civilizations often adapt, relocate, and evolve, but the Harappans seem to have melted away, leaving little trace of continuity. Another theory speaks of invasion, that Indo-Aryan tribes swept down from the north, bringing new gods, new rituals, and perhaps violence. The Rig Veda, one of the oldest Sanskrit texts, speaks of battles and destroyed cities, which some interpret as evidence of conflict with the Indus people. Yet this theory remains controversial, because archaeological evidence of widespread warfare or burning destruction is limited. And if conquerors came, why does the Harappan script remain undeciphered? And why does their cultural imprint seem so faint afterward? Then there is the idea of disease, that a plague may have emerged in the crowded cities, spreading rapidly through trade routes, collapsing urban life. Some scientists speculate that their very drainage systems, once marvels of engineering, could have turned into breeding grounds for illness when maintenance faltered. Still, without clear skeletal or medical evidence, this remains another shadowy possibility. What makes the mystery more haunting is the script. Hundreds of small seals and tablets bearing strange symbols, carved with images of bulls, elephants, and mythical unicorn-like creatures, lined with markings that appear to be a written language. Scholars have tried to crack it with computers, linguistic analysis, and comparisons to Dravidian, Sanskrit, and Sumerian, but no one has succeeded. And without unlocking these words, the Harappans remain silent about who they were, what they believed, and why their world crumbled. Mohenjo-Daro itself yields eerie clues. The Great Bath, a massive tank carefully sealed with tar to hold water, suggesting rituals of purification or community gathering. But what beliefs were tied to it? Were they worshippers of water, of fertility, of balance? Without texts, we can only speculate. Even their burial practices leave little explanation. Unlike Egypt with its elaborate tombs, Harappan graves were modest, lacking monumental glorification, as if their society resisted hierarchy. Some scholars believe this egalitarianism itself makes them unique, a civilization without kings or emperors dominating every artifact. But perhaps that is part of the riddle. As excavations expand, more settlements are uncovered, revealing thousands of smaller villages and towns, all connected through trade, showing that the Indus people were not just city dwellers, but part of a vast cultural network. Archaeologists have found jewelry of carnelian beads, toys shaped like carts and animals, sophisticated weights that matched across hundreds of miles, and even evidence of trade with Mesopotamia, for Indus seals have been found as far away as Sumer. They were part of a globalized Bronze Age world, yet they vanished while their neighbors endured. Did they merge quietly into early Vedic culture, their identity absorbed by new waves of settlers, their achievements forgotten as oral traditions reshaped memory? Did their cities crumble too slowly for anyone to notice the end until they were gone? The irony is that the modern world almost erased them again, for it was only in the 1920s, when railway workers used ancient bricks to lay tracks, that archaeologists realized they were standing on the remains of a lost civilization. Without that accident, the Harappans might still lie buried, their story untold. Today, the mystery continues to inspire new studies, from climate science to satellite imaging, as researchers trace ancient riverbeds and piece together fragments of daily life. Yet the ultimate question remains: how does one of the world's greatest civilizations vanish so completely, leaving behind no legends, no myths, no voices echoing in later generations? Perhaps that is why the Indus Valley grips our imagination more than almost any other ancient mystery, because it reminds us of the fragility of human achievement, how progress and sophistication are never permanent, how even a society that mastered urban planning, trade, and hygiene could disappear into obscurity. And as we stare at the undeciphered seals, the silent streets of Mohenjo-Daro, and the forgotten wells of Harappa, we are confronted with the possibility that some chapters of human history may remain forever sealed, their truths lost in the sands, their whispers fading into mystery, leaving us only with haunting questions. Who were the people of the Indus? What secrets lie in their symbols? And why did they vanish so completely that the world forgot them until only a century ago?